Hey guys, EleventyTen here, welcome back to some more Heroes of the Storm, and today we are looking at the new PTR patch and the new hero Probius. So pretty excited to show you this character, looks pretty interesting. May need some adjustments in regards to having low damage, but we'll see. So what we're going to do is show you the talents and the abilities, and then we're going to go over some UI changes in the patch notes and briefly go over some of the hero changes that have been announced or at least proposed for the PTR. So that is as of March 6th. Let's look at the basic abilities. We've got Disruption Pulse, which is a skill shot. Fire burst of energy forward, does damage to all enemies it passes through. And it says here hitting the center of a warp rift will cause it to explode. Well, what's a warp rift? It's your W. It takes up 1.25 seconds to activate, and you can explode as you throw a disruption pulse through it. Now it's important to hit the actual center, because if you miss the center it won't do anything. So if you're in a pinch or you're trying to scramble to get that skill shot out, you might miss it and screw it up. E is photon cannon, which can only be placed within a pylon, within a pylon's power area, and we'll just go down here, show you. Pylon's power area is quite large within that blue circle there, and you can place a photon cannon down. It lasts for about 10 or 12 seconds and does medium damage. It's not super powerful. The pylons can take about 5 or 6 hits from a hero. They're not that sturdy either. And the pylon is actually your trait. So while standing in the pylon area yourself, you will regenerate mana, and you will not get mana back if you're not in a pylon area. So you can see there, if you just spam spells, it's not going to do anything. You're not going to regenerate mana at all. But as soon as you go in here, you start getting it back. Okay. Then, like I said, it's up to 2 total until you get to a higher level. You can pick an option to get to 3. And they grant vision, and like I said, they only regenerate mana. Now, they say in the intro video or the launch video for Probius to give you some tips on where to place these pylons. You obviously want to keep them safe, so you may hide them behind trees or in bushes. Similar to Murky's Egg, you want to keep it hidden and at least safe to some kind of degree. Now, it's interesting as an enemy that you can tell when Probius is in a pylon zone pretty obviously, because one, they're regenerating mana, but if they're trying to escape from you, you can see this little animation that he gets when he goes into the power field. It doesn't happen when he leaves the power field, but it does happen when he goes in. So if there's a Probius hanging around one of your lanes and you're not quite sure where his pylons are, keep an eye out for that little animation, and it will tell you that he's just entered the radius of a pylon, and it might give you an idea of where it's hiding. So if we look at some combos we can do, we start looking at the talents. For the first talent, you have Echo Pulse. It will now return to him after 1.25 seconds. So we pick that one and throw it out there. You'll see it stops and comes back. Some interesting plays you can make with that would combo with Warp Rift, and again you'll have to practice and time it, but you can stack Warp Rift twice. So if you drop it down, you can actually, if you time it right, get 2 explosions out of the 1 disruption pulse. So that can be quite nice in a choke, or if you just want to surprise somebody. And it can be difficult to pull off. Put it on yourself there. It can be difficult to pull off because he's not the fastest character. You might want to use your speed boost, but it's some ideas for you. The other options on the first talent tier are Warp Resonance, which is a quest. So if you after hitting 10 heroes with Warp Rift explosions, increase explosion damage by 100, and after hitting 20 heroes, you get an additional charge. So 3 charges on this is pretty nice, because if you had 3 charges, you can have 3 explosions. The explosions actually stack. So if you get someone in between both fields, they're going to get hit by both. See that again. Let's show, let's refresh the floats here, so we can show you some minions getting hit. It does pretty decent damage to minions. Here, it's here. There you go. And that's at max level. That's at level 20. So obviously there's considerations to be made for level. I'm not getting any mana left, so mana back. So let's go in here. We'll show you some of the damage for the photon cannon now as well. So let's just show here. Pylon's pretty quick to build. So it's not great damage and it's not got great life. See if I can make them attack the pylon. Show you how much life it has. So the other one is the photon cannon, like I said. So going back into the tier 1 talents, yeah, see, it's not got much life. Gather minerals is similar to the gather health globe option. You can increase your photon cannon's health, and at 70 minerals increase the damage. So that could be kind of cool. It sees over obstacles and reveals nearby cloaked units. So that could be really helpful actually if you're against a stealther. The next tier are pretty meh. Not really a fan of this one. Gives you 30 spell armor when a photon cannon is alive. Turbocharge, increased speed. This one is pretty nice, I think. Permanent shields. There you go. Tier 7 again, increased damage. Pretty vanilla talent there. Up to 40% max for each enemy hit in the warp rift. So up to 4 enemies. Rift Shock, deal more damage to enemies caught in the Warp Rift detonation, and Photon Cannon cooldowns, so nothing crazy there. This is when you get to the ultimates. So you can have Pylon Overcharge, which will actually basically make the pylon power fields bigger, and allows them to attack enemies for up to 10 seconds. So we would show, let me see, get them up in the middle of the lane. I'm going to hide this here. Let's pick this one. And go. Get the other one. And let me get some enemies here. Okay. Closer. It's not great damage, but it's damage. Alfurion, you're like destroying everything. Here we go. It does prioritize heroes, I believe. So, bye-bye Arthas. That's pretty cool. The other alternative is slowing barrier. So it's very similar to, well, it's a slowing barrier, I guess. I'm trying to think if it's similar to some of the characters in League of Legends, but I can't quite think of the name of the character. But it basically puts a gate across the lane. We'll show you that now in a minute. Going on to the higher tier ones, these are quite useful. It can let you be a good support. So give attack damage, spell power and mana, or just straight up shields to anyone standing in your power field. Let's go with shields. You get double shields there. Warp Rift slow is lingering after 3 seconds, so once they leave they're still slowed. More slowed towards the middle of the gravity well. A repulsor, so when you knock them back, and reduction in spell power. So that's situational, depending on who you're playing against. Let's pick the knockback. Let's see what the knockback looks like. Huh. Guess that could be interesting if you want to knock them forwards or backwards. Then this is the ultimate, so you can do 3 pylons at once, and then you can have them all attack. Let's toggle minions off so we can get them up here. Boom. That's for 10 seconds. So if you get those set up in a lane close to a fort, you'll annihilate stuff. So if we go back and look at the other one, get right up there, Null Gate. We want to also go to the second level one, Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper is interesting. So Null Gate will set up this slowing and damaging field. Get rid of Malfurion. He is destroying things again. As you can see, it doesn't do amazing damage, but it does damage. Now, the second part of this, the level 20 option, makes it permanent as long as it's standing within a power field for a pylon. The level 10 version is 4 seconds only. So what's interesting is you can set it up so that it really destroys waves before they even get into. Yeah, that's the B. It's not quite in there. There we go. You can destroy minion waves before they even get anywhere. Like, I mean, you could just leave a pylon up in the brush and leave that there the whole time. Somebody's going to come and kill it, obviously. They're going to come and kill the pylon, but the actual wall itself can't be killed. If you can get a good angle on these, you can, like, see, watch this. That's the whole minion wave is almost dead. So there's some interesting plays you can do, and if you have a pylon hidden here, for example, you can permanently block off your fort. So lots of potential epic plays there. The other level 20 skills are shoot 'em up. So let's go back to level 20 and see what we can show you. So shoot 'em up, hitting a warp rift disruption pulse, splits disruption pulse into 4 additional pulses. So let's do this one. Go. Boom. So nice AoE damage. It's not great damage, like I said before. Probably if you tech into it a little bit, it might be better. Got away. He got away. So that's his talents. Probius loop is whenever a rift explosion hits 2 or more enemy heroes, create a new warp rift in the same location. So that's a rundown of his abilities. An interesting little character. I'm happy to see him in there. Should be fun to use. Maybe very difficult to use. If you can't keep your pylons alive, you're basically useless. So be very careful about that. About protecting them. If you have an enemy who's particularly good at finding them and killing them, you could be in trouble. I think you could use it as a good push, early push character. I'm not quite sure of the late game viability. Again, some of those support elements might come in. So that's Probius. Now we'll talk about the other parts of the patch real quick. You might see at the top here there's a UI change. You can actually see your allies' health and status, which is something I've been crying out for well, since Heroes came out. As a main support player, it's incredibly frustrating to not be able to see at a glance your allies' health and whether they're being attacked or whether they're alive or dead. It's just incredibly frustrating. So being able to see this, particularly earlier on when I was playing Brightwing almost constantly, I mean, playing Brightwing without having some kind of visual reference to see how well your allies are doing was a nightmare. You were all over the map, and you could barely pay attention to what you were doing in your own lane, let alone everybody else. That was just brain pain all the time. So that's going to be cool. That's going to be implemented in the next patch, and you can see the enemy's status as well, if they're alive, or how many seconds is left for them to come back. The other items they've changed is they've brought back the on fire mechanic, which is just something to display when a character is doing well, similar to what they have in Overwatch. Nothing too crazy there, but it's nice to see, get some validation if you feel you're doing well and you're getting flamed by your allies. If you're on fire and they're not, you can at least say you're doing something right. Whether you know what it is or not is another story. Let's see here, what else was there? Yeah, on fire effects, the kill feed. There'll now be a kill feed. I think it might have already shown here, but I didn't really pay attention. It doesn't Oh, there we go, up the top left, enemy slain. You can't really see it behind this here. There you go. So that's pretty cool. That's going to come up now when you get kills. It's going to show you who killed who, if they're on a streak. And if there's additional skills, it will stack the portraits so that you can see how many you've killed, and the kill streak timer will also show up. The other thing is, they had mentioned that they moved the minimap, but it doesn't appear to have moved too much. That's pretty much it for the UI stuff. They've got new art for some of the things and some other small items, but the ally hero cards up here is a big thing for me. Now, I would encourage you to check out the website and just check out the blog for all of the hero changes before I go into them. There's a lot, and I'm not going to go through them all. I just kind of really go over them real quick. But before I do that, they did some changes, or they made some changes to allied body blocking, which I think is going to be pretty interesting. It just says improvements have been made to allied body blocking. No specifics, so I'm not sure exactly what they've done, but allied body blocking is a frustration of this game. They've also mentioned something like time-based scaling for some abilities. So they've implemented time-based scaling on Li Ming's Arcane Orb and Tyrann's Sentinel, which will adjust their damage depending on how long the game has gone on for. It doesn't say specifically if they get increased or decreased. So that's pretty much that. And then, like I said, the hero changes. So they've made significant changes to cho'gall. It's Cho and Gall, both of them. Some small changes to Illidan, Kerrigan, Raynor, Zul'jin, Varian, Asmodan. Some big changes to Gazlo. A lot of talent changes there. Anubarak's had a lot of talent changes, almost like a complete rework. Arthas has some talent changes as well. And Johanna's had a few small changes. Tyrael had a lot of changes as well. So go check out the actual blog for all that info. You'll really need to see that in writing to understand most of it. And there's been a lot of other improvements to some characters. Like, for example, corrections to some spells that weren't dealing damage that they should have. So, for example, ETC's Echo Pedal will now correctly deal damage to the Blue Chest on Blackheart's Bay. I mean, it doesn't seem like a huge deal, but that could be a problem. Drain Life can now be cast properly by Gul'dan when he has no mana. Asmodan's damage dealt by Sin's Grasp talent will now correctly benefit from ability power. So there's about 25 of those changes for different characters. Go check them out. I'll put the link in the description. That's pretty much it for this PTR patch. The big change obviously being the introduction of Probius. So I'm quite interested to see how Probius comes into the game. I haven't really had a chance to test out the last hero that we got was Lucio. I'm still hoping that something will really connect with me with this game and get me back into it full time. It just hasn't. It's never really clicked with me. It's always been a little bit off. It's never been just right. And I think this is another little step in the right direction for them. So anyway, check out Probius. You will be able to only play in try mode on the PTR unless you purchase it for $10, which I'm not going to do. So I will wait until it comes to live to try a quick play game with him. But otherwise, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Have a good night.